Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. I am Joey Francis, your life, love, and relationship coach. Thank you so much for joining me. Alone or single? There is a difference between the two. And part of that goes through the language that we use when we talk to ourselves. Now, before I get into anything, I just want to say I know that there are a lot of people out there that truly do feel alone, and those people aren't reserved for single people as well. There's people in relationships and friendships and have family, and all those people still make them feel alone. And I don't want to take away from that. If you happen to be in one of those situations, I do strongly suggest that you reach out either to those in your circle whom you can talk to or get the proper help necessary. Because, feeling alone is, especially in a world where it is so easy to be connected to people, feeling alone, I think it's an epidemic. Oh, you know what? Speaking of being alone, my phone is alone somewhere else. Oh, well. Sorry about that. Anyways, yes. So again, if you are someone who truly does feel alone, I strongly suggest that you reach out to your loved ones, friends, your partner, sit them down, have a conversation with them, or help, or even reach out to me and I'll listen to you. Because I think it's important that we all stay connected with each other. Funny enough that there is a Harvard study that's been going on for, I think, 70 or 80 years. Yeah. And it actually studies the importance of humans in relationships and how they are when they go through life. And if you're curious about that, I suggest you Google it and have a good read because it is extremely interesting. And part of the conclusions that they find is that those who are in good marriages tend to live longer than those who are either single or not in good marriages. And those who are in bad marriages tend to die off a lot sooner than those who stay single or in good marriages. Just, off the top there. But it's such an interesting study. I suggest, if it's something that interests you, that you go check it out. Anyways, because of the language, and even past episode I spoke about language. I don't remember exactly if I spoke about the language that we use with ourselves. I think I might have touched base on it, but it slips my mind at the moment. Nonetheless, we need to remind ourselves that when we are single, that we are not alone. And I am speaking about this because this happens time and time again when I'm speaking to clients who, funny enough, are divorced. That's not the funny part. Have kids and have fantastic families and friends. And I know it's because sometimes it's their friends that refer them to me. So I know that they have fantastic friends because their friends have, such a caring heart and getting them to talk to me. But nonetheless, the language that they use is that, I'm alone, I'm lonely. And it's like, I don't think you are, personally speaking. You have kids and you have fantastic friends. That doesn't necessarily negate you being alone. I can understand that at times we may feel lonely because of our being single, because of our relationship status. But this is where the importance of reflection and gratitude truly come in, right? And I think that we need to remind ourselves, and if not, I'm reminding you right now, to those that you're not necessarily alone. You might feel lonely from time to time because you're used to sleeping in bed with someone or having someone around late at night when the kids are asleep and when the whole world is sort of quiet. And then you're left alone in your thoughts. And then comes this like catch-22 situation. Are you feeling lonely because you don't like the company you're with, as in you being with yourself? Or do you feel lonely because you're so used to having someone there with you because you've been married for a long period of time? Or do you feel lonely because you're actually lonely? And this is a question that you generally have to sit and think about and ask yourself and be honest with yourself. Because if it is a matter of you feeling lonely because you don't like the company that you're with or you're bored, then it's my strong opinion that I say to you, you shouldn't be with anybody for your own benefit, not even for somebody else's benefit, for your own benefit. And you might think that's counterproductive because I'm feeling this way because I don't have someone. Fine. But at the same time, how strong are those feelings? And what are you willing to compromise on when it comes to the type of person that you want, just so that you have someone there with you? Because this is where we find a lot of people in unhappy relationships, because the base of the relationship is to fulfill some other need, not to fulfill love. This is something similar as I spoke to, I think it was the episode where I talked about who pays first, or who pays for the date, the first date. And I expressly said that there's people out there, more women than men, that are interested in transactional relationships, where essentially they get money for other services, so to speak. This is the exact same thing, where you're looking to be with someone, to have them there, not because you love them, or not for like the right reasons, as I like to say, but to fulfill some sort of space that you have inside you that is missing. And the problem is that when you think that this person is filling that space, it becomes very important that they stay there. And because it's important that they stay there, how much shit are you willing to take before you're like hurting yourself, or they're hurting you, and you're not addressing the situation or walking away? And from experience, from people coming and talking to me, it's a lot. And I understand, when we're looking at it from the outside, you could probably say to yourself, oh, no, Mr. Francis, no shot. I would never do such a thing. I would never let someone walk all over me. And then 3 months later, I'm having a conversation with that very same person, and they're saying to me, I'm not getting treated the right way all the time. For the most part, it's good. And it's nice having someone there, and it's better than being alone. And it's like, is it now? Why is you getting hurt better than being alone? Because you don't like who you're alone with? Is that what it is? Because to me, that's like an insane concept. If you're dating somebody and in a relationship with another human being, and they're hurting you, it is better than being alone, where nobody's hurting you, and the only person you're left with is yourself. It's an interesting thing to think about. It really is. Because I'm sure there's some of you out there, hopefully listening to this, and maybe I'm reminding you that, hey, you know what? You don't have to be there to wake up. And I'm not saying that you need to walk away from your relationship. All I'm saying is that, maybe you're allowing someone to get away with murder. Maybe you're allowing someone a little bit more leeway than they need, or they should have, because you're scared to rock the boat, because you're scared to have the tough conversations, because you're scared to speak your mind. And listen, it's a big deal. It really is, because I'm talking about your happiness. I'm talking about your future. Because if you can sit there and say, hey, you know what? 80% of the time, we're fantastic. It's happy. It's great. 10% of the time, it's almost like it's non-existent, like it's very mundane. And the other 10% of the time, it's shit. And I feel like crap because they treat me like crap. And you might think, hey, that's not bad. You know, like 90% of the time, you're okay. But if you think about it, right? You know, you live to, I don't know, 90 years old. That's a total of 9 years of your life. 10% of the time, 9 years of your life that is miserable and shit. Do you want that? Because I don't want that. Maybe I have a higher standard and I live to a higher standard, but I don't want that. So if you're the person that is feeling lonely while being single because they don't like the company they're in, or they get bored very easily, maybe that's like a separate thing, because I do know some people that do get bored easily when they're by themselves. And I've had to remind them, like, hey, listen, you know what? Don't go doing things because you're bored. Do things that are constructive. This person, in example, I've spoke to recently about this, and she listens to this. You know who you are. Where she could be doing something more constructive. And she said to me, you know, after talking to you, I've realized that I am not ready to date and I'm not ready for a relationship. Yet she continuously goes out on dates. And funny enough, she goes out on dates with guys whom she doesn't really like. And then the guys that she does talk to and does like, she tells them straight out, like, listen, we need to sort of keep this like on ice for a minute until I figure my shit out. And it's like, so you're purposely going out with the guys you don't like, mainly because you probably don't care, as in if they like you back, or, you know, if they don't like you at all. It's just easy to just brush off because you're not even interested in them to begin with. And rather than doing something more constructive with your time, you know, you're going out with guys who may or may not like you. But the funny thing is you're putting yourself into situations with God knows who for no reason at all. And like, listen, I understand that there are men out there that are genuine, and I understand that there are men out there that are not. And you know how much I hate categorizing like men and women just into two groups when we are such individuals and there's so many of us and each of us has a different opinion and each of us are an individual. But the thing is that when you say, I'm not interested in anything serious to a guy, their mind jumps to sex. You know what? Mine too. Even though I know better, like for a split second, it's like, oh, is she just looking to get laid? Because there are women that are out there doing that, and you know, all the power to you. You're an adult and you can make adult choices. But nonetheless, when someone says to me, I am not looking for anything serious, it's like, boom. What, you know, are you looking for sex? Not necessarily that, you know, I'm going to have sex with them, but it's just like, then what are you doing here? You know, what's your goal? Because now I become very, very, very curious, because this isn't a matter of, you know, want to find someone, meet them, date them, get married, have kids, have a family, blah, 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 you know, white picket fence, the whole 9 yards. This is, I want something short term. Well, what does that look like? Are you looking for a friend for the summer that you can like go on dates with, but it's like very shallow, like nothing happens? Are you looking for someone long term, but you're using I just want a person for short term, making a guy think that it's about sex so that you can eventually like trap him and then, you know, hold them down for long-term dating. And I'm very specific saying this about, women and men, because if a man says, I'm not looking for anything serious, a woman right away thinks he's just looking for sex. I mean, listen, it is what it is. It is what it is. Even though there are guys out there that are in very similar situations that may not be looking for sex and, want something short term because, that was my phone, by the way, in the background in the other room. Train of thought lost completely. Let's bring it back into the station. Okay. Because there are guys out there that just want a female friend maybe for a summer because they work, they travel for work and they're in a new place and they're going to be there for a little while and they just want someone to go out to dinner with so that they're not lonely. How did I get here? How did I diverge so far from my topic? But yeah, no, like it can happen either way. So bringing it back in completely, this friend of mine doing this, and she's even told me stories that, there was a guy that she went out with that's very cool, very calm. They don't even talk all that much. It's a very like spontaneous, like, hey, what are you up to? You want to go grab something to eat? You want to go grab a coffee? And it's cool. And they're both understanding of it. And then there was another guy that was very much like, hey, you don't want anything serious. How about we... And you can fill in the blanks for yourself. And he constantly was saying that, and to the point that she's like, I can't take it anymore. I need to cut him off. And this is my point, right? Why are you putting yourself into this situation if you're not necessarily ready to date? Now, everybody can do as they please, right? And granted, can this be some sort of like therapy to help you get to the point of dating? Maybe. I could also see this deterring somebody from being like wanting to date. In fact, speaking with another woman, that is the exact sentiment that she says to me, where she started off telling me like, I want to date with intention and I want to find someone to have a long-term relationship with. And then as you continue talking to her, it's changed to she's very confused as well as unsure of what that even looks like for her. So everybody's different. And she even had a conversation with me about being single for a longer period of time where you just get used to yourself. This is obviously the opposite of what this whole topic is about. But nonetheless, she telling me about her being single for so long and rebuffing all these guys that are very much, sexualizing her because of the way she looks. And she's just tired of that treatment. And then she thinks to herself, like, is there ever a genuine guy out there? And because she's been single for so long and all she's seen is this type of guy, that now she puts all these guys in the same category, even if they're not acting that way. Okay. Anyways, bringing it back. So, single, lonely, not the same thing. Now, the first one, as I mentioned, was because you don't like being alone with yourself and your own thoughts. And that's why you only feel lonely at specific times. I don't even remember what the second one was now. You are alone, or you're feeling lonely while being single. Yeah, I honestly don't remember. Oh, well, that's fine. Because I'm pretty sure I've touched base on it somewhere. I think, maybe. Nonetheless, if you are single, remind yourself that you're not necessarily alone. At least take stock in who and what are around you, okay? Friends, family, the father of your kids, if that's the case, or your kids themselves. And remind yourself that you have these people in your life. And I'm talking about when you're actually feeling that loneliness. because clearly it's not going to be all the time, whether you have, you go to work, your colleagues, etc., etc. And you have to be okay with being with yourself first and foremost. And I mean, it's just simple, right? Like, think like if you're the product, if you don't like the product, how do you expect other people to like the product? You know what I mean? Like, if you can't stand being with yourself, how do you expect someone else to stand being with you? And break that down if you need to. There's a lot of resources to help you out with that, including like just listening to my podcast in general. And yeah, I mean, I don't really know what else to say. I did have a lot to say. Anyways, I guess, yeah. I'm just trying to like brainstorm like on the spot right now because I just completely lost my train of thought. Nonetheless, if you are having trouble finding someone, aside from the online dating, because that is one way that you don't necessarily need to feel alone. I mean, you can go online and hopefully, at the very least, find someone new to talk to and get to know. I mean, again, I don't think anybody should be doing that under the circumstances of trying to fill a hole, right? Because again, you're just going to do it for the wrong reasons. If you do anything for the wrong reasons, you're going to get the wrong results. That's it. It's as simple as that. Okay. So, if you want to reach out because you're feeling lonely, you can go to my website. That's www.joeyfrancis.com. You don't need a www. I don't even know why I keep saying that. And there, scroll down, you'll see a little box. You can write in to me. It will get sent right to my email, and I will respond to you as quick as I possibly can. And yeah, if you have any questions for me, you need my help for something, you want my opinion on something, you have ideas for my podcast, please reach out. It's greatly appreciated. And that's about it. So, thank you so much for listening. Go out into the world. Do what's best for you. That's going to yield the best results. And if you truly are lonely, I suggest you reach out to those who you love, those who love you, and like just plan a day just to do something, even if it's just like you and another person, just to like catch up, have a drink, have a meal, just to remind yourself that you do have family and friends. This is where reflection and gratitude are really important. And I do want to say this. I know now I'm prolonging because things are coming back to me. If somebody in your life you believe is lonely, here's an idea. Reach out to them. Say, hey, I miss your voice. How are you? How's it going? What have you been up to? What projects are you working on lately? I don't care if it's mundane small talk baloney. Do it. You know what they say? Like there's that saying, if you can smile at someone or wave at someone and completely change their whole life because you have no idea who they are or what they're going through. And that smile can completely like rejuvenate them. It's the same purpose here. So if there's anybody in your life who you think is going through some shit, and even if they're overstressed, not necessarily even lonely, that maybe they just need to hear something from a friendly person, do it. Do your part. Be a good friend. Be a good family member. Reach out and say something. Plan something. Hug someone. Thank them for being there for you. Until next time.